We must have no stigma, none, about wearing masks when we leave our homes and come near other people. Wearing simple face coverings is not about protecting ourselves. It is about protecting everyone we encounter.
All right, well, that was Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell urging people to wear masks. And while Senator McConnell didn't address President Trump not wearing a mask directly, Tennessee Senator Lamar Alexander, he did, who, by the way, is the chairman of the Health Committee. He opened a hearing Tuesday saying, quote, "Unfortunately, this simple life-saving practice has become part of a political debate that says if you're for Trump, you don't wear a mask. If you're against Trump, you do. That is why I have suggested that the president should occasionally wear a mask. It would end the political debate," end quote. Well, joining us now is our company to discuss, Republican strategist and former Deputy Assistant Secretary of Public Affairs at the Department of Homeland Security, Lauren Claffey. And she's joined by Democratic strategist and former communications director for the Blue Dog Coalition, Kristen Hawn. Ladies, welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
All right, well, this has spun up a lot of debate. Obviously, the president gets tested almost every day, if not every day. That's his reason for not wearing a mask, but it's drawn a lot of controversy. Lauren, where do you come down on this?
Listen, I kind of have to agree with Senator Alexander here. I think that the president unintentionally has politicized this issue to a degree in which his followers are making it a statement not to wear masks, and we know that they are effective, especially as we enter in a lot of these phase 2 and reopening to get the economy going again. So we need people to be wearing masks and socially distanced so we can get people back to work and the economy working again. So I fall on that President Trump should be wearing a mask because he is the leader of the country. So I think he needs to kind of, set an example here. And while it does make a lot of sense that he's getting tested and he might not need to wear it all the time, I think that he should make a show of effort and lead us into, a more safe future.
Yeah, and recently a lot of the GOP, like I mentioned, has jumped on board and agreed. We even talked to Senator Scott yesterday, and he agreed that people should be wearing masks, specifically in Jacksonville. But I think an interesting part of this is the testing. It's to protect others, and if he knows he doesn't have coronavirus, is it such a big issue? Kristen, where do you come down?
I agree with Senator Alexander. I mean, there should be no politics in this debate. The president needs to lead by example. Just because he gets tested, not every American has the ability to get tested every single day. So, there are a lot of people. I have family in Texas, and the governor of Texas came out and said that the state needs to start where people need to wear masks. We need to socially distance. It took long enough, and you're seeing the effects of that as just now Texas is starting to have to shut down. So I agree, the president should be leading by example.
So here's the thing that I think is interesting about this debate, right? That Lindsay pointed out that he's tested every day. So he knows he doesn't have it, and a mask prevents your germs from going out of your mouth and therefore infecting somebody else, right? So it's protecting them from you. And so if he doesn't have it, then he's not ever infecting anyone. It's the other people that should be wearing it around him, right? That's just the reality. And so this is somewhat of a silly thing. Like every once in a while, if you look at the four of us now, we're on television, we're not wearing a mask because we're not infecting anybody, right? You guys are in your own homes and you're not doing this. And there's a bit of, if we were wearing them, I think it was a bit silly, right? And so sometimes I turn on these news shows and I watch a correspondent who's by themselves wearing one, and it's almost become a status symbol and a style symbol. So I watched Nancy Pelosi go out and do this press conference the other day. She walks on stage, she puts it on. She walks up to the podium, she takes it off. It wasn't done because it was helping anyone or protecting anyone. It was all about style and appeal, which I think is silly. Like, I get it. If we're in a public place, then do it. But if you're at home, you don't do it because it doesn't make sense. And I think we've now crossed a line where it's not about safety, it's about image. And do you get my point, Lauren? Because I think that it's one thing to say, okay, the president was, if it didn't work the way that it did, that's one thing. But for him to say, okay, so I should just put it on so you think that, so what, it looks good? I mean, I get if he was going somewhere, and he did do it at the tour when he went to tour that plant. I think it was in Wisconsin or something. But there's an element to which we're starting to do this more as a society thing. It's like that Seinfeld episode where they're trying to get Kramer to wear the ribbon just to wear the ribbon. It's more about showing that you're doing it versus doing it to protect other people.
Yeah, listen, I think for an individual American, they need to make the best decision on when they wear masks and when they don't. Obviously, you don't wear a mask when you're at home with your quarantined family. You should when you're out in public and have the possibility of spreading it to other or catching it. The president is different, though. I mean, he is supposed to be the one setting the tone. And I think he would not be in this situation if he had not been making fun of the effectiveness of masks and kind of making light of wearing them and then making a show of not wearing them. So, at this point, he kind of has to self-correct a little bit because he might be underestimating his followers and what an impact he has on their behaviors. And so while he may not need to wear a mask, I think that he does need to make a statement that says, everyone, let's do this together. We're all here. If you're going out in public, wear a mask. I'm doing it too.
So, Kristen, I actually think what Lauren said is where I pretty much come down, which is the president should be communicating those safety efforts. And I know he's done it, but that's to me, I think the point is that he should say, here's what you should do if you're out in public to protect others. But it's more about the messaging than it is the appearance. I think there is a difference there.
I mean, I think, a picture's worth 1,000 words. We're all in communications. And I think, the president, like that visual of him saying, it's okay, this is what we need to do. And I think a lot of times he may underestimate, his followers and the people that will emulate him and do what he does. We all know that wearing a mask, it's science. It's being respectful of the people you're around. It is, good for everybody's health. The president should be doing because people are leading by example. The speaker, on the other hand, she is leading by example. I don't think it's a status symbol for her or a fashion symbol just because she has, may have masks that match her outfit. I do too. But, she made a point to make sure that even as they vote on the House floor, that, it's a painstaking process now. Not that voting wasn't before, but now it takes one vote takes 7 hours because they have to, figure out who has masks, how many people can be on the floor. So, I think it's all about leading by example, and the president should be doing that as well.
Yeah, and I agree with that. I mean, I get that point because I think that there's those are instances where you're among other people. It's a safety issue. They're not being tested. So I get that. And I think you go into a grocery store because as was said in that statement that Mitch McConnell made, it's selfish of you if you're not and you're in a public place because you don't know what you have or what has been passed by you. But I think that there's this line about, whether we go too far sometimes because you should be respectful if you're in public or you're in a public place. But I just think that too often now it's become a symbol when I see these folks who are clearly not infecting anybody or not within 6 feet, whatever, but they're doing it just for show. And that's where I think it's taking it a little too far because we should be doing it when there's a health reason, not just so that we can show people that we've got a cool looking mask.
But Kristen, I think you have a great point because a picture is worth 1,000 words. And Lauren, do you think if the president did wear a mask, let's say that he brandishes one in a picture or something, that would depoliticize it and help?
I think so. And, I think, too, we're literally having conversations at this point about, people suggesting that we should go to mandatory mask wearing on a nationwide scale. And I think that's what we're preventing against. I mean, I have a lot of trust in the American people that they can do and make decisions for themselves and their own families and their health and do what's right for their state, their locality, what's going on there. And so I do think that by encouraging mask wearing, right, the participation, not a government mandate, that's what President Trump needs to be recommending and encouraging because we don't want to have to go to a nanny state where the government's telling us what to do, regardless of where we are.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think, Kristen, I might need to reach out to you and get some more stylish ones then because I've just got plain black.
You get the one with your face on it.
I know.
It doesn't even look like you're wearing a mask.
This is going to be a long-term thing. I think maybe I do need to figure out how to match, but then again, it's just like black and gray, blue and gray suits. So I don't know. I think I can keep it simple in that. All right. Well, thank you guys. It's been enjoyable to have this discussion.
Thanks.
All right. Well, coming up, we're going to continue the show with our Battleground 2020 series, breaking down the President Trump's chance of winning Minnesota, a traditionally blue state. Stick around.